The moment we hit play, we had no idea how terrifying this game was about to get. At first, it looked harmless, almost too harmless. But within minutes, we realized something was watching us, something was coming for us, and trust me, you'll want to see how this ends. The second we hit play, I knew we'd made a mistake. You ever open a game and instantly feel like something's just off? Like before anything scary even happens, your body already knows it's not safe. That was this moment. The title screen was quiet, too quiet. Just this eerie little tune in the background, looping over and over, the kind of sound that worms its way into your head. I remember sitting there, laughing nervously, like, okay, this doesn't look that bad. But deep down, I already felt my stomach tighten, and then it hit me. This wasn't the kind of game that needed cheap jump scares or loud noises. No, this was the kind that creeps under your skin, the kind that lingers with you after you've shut it off, when the room's gone dark and you're suddenly questioning every shadow. The moment the story began, I swear the atmosphere in my room shifted. It didn't feel like we were just playing anymore. It felt like we'd been pulled inside. We're dropped into this little apartment, nothing special, nothing flashy, just four walls, a flickering lamp, and the soft hum of silence. But that silence, it wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, oppressive, like the whole place was holding its breath. And then we see her, the mom. She looks tired, worn down, like life's already been rough on her. She's just trying to tuck her kid into bed like any normal night. And for a split second, I let my guard down. I thought, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as bad as I thought. But that's when the game dropped it on us, the book. The man from the window, just sitting there on the table like it had been waiting for us. I hovered over it for a moment, hesitant. Something about that cover art just didn't feel right. My gut was screaming not to click it, but curiosity. Yeah, it always wins. We opened it, and the second those words appeared on the screen, my heart rate doubled. Page after page, it wasn't just telling us a story, it was warning us about him, the man. He wasn't a monster. He wasn't a ghost. He wasn't even described like something out of a horror movie. No, that made it worse. He sounded human, but not quite human. Wrong in all the subtle ways that matter. Every line we read was like a step closer to doom. It didn't just say he was coming. It told us exactly how. Which room he'd check first. How much time we had. And the worst part, that timer was already ticking. I looked at the clock on the wall, the dim glow of the lamp, the door leading outside, and for the first time in a long time, a game had me frozen in place. Because if what this book said was true, he was already on his way, and trust me, you're gonna want to see what happens when he arrives. So there we are, sitting in this little apartment, staring at this tired mom and her kid, and for a moment, I'll admit, I wasn't scared. I mean, come on, it looked harmless. The apartment wasn't creepy. It wasn't dark and abandoned. There weren't ghosts floating around in the background. It just looked like life. A small space, a worn out couch, a flickering light. If you walked in blind, you'd think this was some low-budget slice of life game about parenting. But that's exactly what made it terrifying. Because horror always works best when it sneaks up on you. The mom's putting Junior to bed, and she's clearly exhausted, and then there it is, that book, just sitting on the coffee table like it had been waiting for us. The man from the window. Now, I don't know about you, but if I ever saw a random children's book appear in my house uninvited, I'd be moving out that same night. But in the game, nope, we open it. Of course we open it. And immediately I wish we hadn't. The writing is simple, almost childlike. It feels like a nursery rhyme, but that's the thing, it's too simple, like a warning meant to be easily memorized, drilled into your brain. It reads, the man is in his element, doing what he does best. He will look through the window first. I froze. Wait, what window? Our window, we keep reading. Line after line describes exactly how he'll break in. what order he'll search each room. First the window, then the bathroom, then the bedroom. It's like a step-by-step guide for how he's about to hunt you down. And I swear to you, the longer I read, the colder my room felt. Like the words weren't just in the game, they were warning me, sitting there in front of my own screen. Then it happens. Knock, knock, knock. That heavy, deliberate pounding rattles the entire screen, and it wasn't just sound design, it was bone deep. It felt like it was happening at my own door. My body locked up, every muscle tensed. I even glanced over my shoulder, just in case. The timer appears, 5 minutes. That's all we have to hide Junior. 5 minutes before he is inside. And suddenly this harmless-looking apartment transforms into a death trap. Every door, every window, every hallway becomes a puzzle. Where do we hide him? What do we lock? What do we leave open? My brain is firing 100 thoughts a second, and yet my hands, shaking so bad on the mouse I could barely click. Because here's the thing, the book isn't just a warning, it's a curse. It forces you to think like him, to anticipate every move, while knowing one mistake means it's over. We had 5 minutes to figure it out, and with the clock ticking louder and louder, I already knew we weren't ready. But what happened when we made our first choice? That's where everything went wrong, and then it happened. That sound, knock, knock, a knock, slow, heavy, deliberate, it wasn't just a knock, it was a statement. Like he wasn't asking to come in, he was letting us know he was already here. My chest tightened instantly. It wasn't just the game audio, it felt like it was echoing in my room. I actually paused for half a second to make sure it wasn't my real life door. That's how deep this game gets into your head. The timer started. 5 minutes, that's it. 5 minutes before he's inside. Now, I don't know about you, but 5 minutes in a horror game doesn't feel like much. It feels like a cruel joke. The kind where you already know no matter what you do, you're about to mess up. The clock on the wall in the game ticked louder and louder, every second like a drumbeat counting down to our doom. And suddenly, this cozy little apartment felt like a cage. My eyes darted around, the couch, the bathroom, the bedroom, the closet. Every option was wrong. I knew it. We had to hide Junior, that was the goal, keep him safe. But the book laid out the man's plan in such painful detail. It felt like we were being forced to play along in his twisted game. First he'd check the window, then the bathroom, then the bedroom. He was methodical, unstoppable, and worst of all, he was already moving. I felt the panic rising. Do we lock the door? Do we close the blinds? Do we hide under the bed? I was saying it out loud like the game could hear me. My chat was no help. They were yelling 50 different strategies at once, most of them completely useless. One person even said, hide him in the oven. Yeah, thanks for that, chat. Totally not cursed advice at all. But the real kicker, every decision eats away at your precious seconds. You don't get time to think. You have to move. So we sprinted through the apartment, fumbling with locks, slamming doors, closing blinds, trying desperately to remember the order from the book. My heart was hammering in my chest so loud. I swear it was syncing with the ticking clock on the wall. And then the lights flickered. That one little flicker was enough to make my blood run cold. Because in horror games, lights don't flicker for no reason. Flickering means he's close. Flickering means you're almost out of time. I froze, hand hovering over the mouse, brain screaming at me to move, but I couldn't. For a full second, I was paralyzed. The screen went quiet, too quiet, and in that silence, every creak of the apartment felt alive. And then it hit me. We had made our choice. We picked the hiding spot, but what happened next? That's when the nightmare really began. The closet door shut behind Junior, and for a second, just a second, I thought we might have pulled it off. The game was quiet, the timer still ticking, and I was trying to convince myself we had made the right call. But then, creack, the front door opened. I swear my heart stopped. It wasn't a crash, it wasn't a bang, it was worse. That slow, deliberate creak, like the sound of someone who knows they're not supposed to be there, but doesn't care. He was inside. The man from the window had entered the apartment, and let me tell you, this wasn't the kind of horror where the monster jumps out instantly. No, this was the kind where the terror builds, second by second, until your nerves are shredded. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Those footsteps, I'll never forget the sound. Heavy, uneven, like something not fully human was dragging its weight across the floorboards. The rhythm was off, unnatural. Each step echoed through my headphones, but it felt like it was happening in my own hallway. I leaned closer to the screen. Holding my breath like that would somehow make Junior hide better. The man's shadow stretched long against the walls as he moved, distorted and wrong, almost cartoonish, but in the most horrifying way. First, he lumbered toward the bathroom. The knob twisted with a click. My chest tightened. The door swung open empty. Relief for half a second, then dread all over again, because we knew what came next, the bedroom. He dragged himself across the floor, his movements jerky, deliberate, like he was savoring the search. My palms were slick with sweat, the mouse slipping in my hand. I whispered under my breath, "Don't look here, don't look here." He checked the bed. Nothing, the dresser, nothing. Every wrong guess brought him one step closer to the closet, and then the kitchen. I could barely keep my eyes on the screen. My heart was racing so loud, I was convinced my mic would pick it up. Every door he opened, every corner he peeked into, I was holding my breath, waiting for it to be over. But the game dragged it out, milking every ounce of tension. Finally he stopped, dead silent, no footsteps. No doors, just silence. And in that silence his shadow fell across the closet door. I whispered, "Please not here. Please, please don't." And then bang! The closet door ripped open so violently I screamed out loud. I jumped so hard, I nearly smacked my headset off. The man's grotesque frame filled the entire screen, towering, unnatural, his face twisted in a way I still can't shake from my head. Junior was right there. Everything went black. We lost. And in that moment, I realized something horrible. This wasn't just a game about hiding. This was a game about inevitability. You can run, you can strategize, you can pray, but the man always finds a way in. But what if there was a way to outsmart him? That's when the obsession began. I thought I was ready for the second attempt. I really did. We read the book, we memorized the order, we made a plan. Lock this door, close that window, hide Junior here. It was airtight. Or so I thought. The knock came again, boom, 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 5 minutes on the clock. The panic returned instantly, like my body remembered the fear before my brain could even react. I was shaking, clicking around the apartment like a maniac, barking out orders to myself like I was leading some kind of military operation. Lock the bathroom, close the blinds, hide the kid, move, move, move. And yet, no matter how fast I moved, that clock ticked louder. Every tick felt like it was mocking me. 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2. Finally, we did it. Junior was hidden. Everything was locked. All that was left to do was wait, and waiting is worse than running. The door creaked open again. Thunk, thunk, thunk. The man's footsteps slithered through the apartment. I gripped my mouse so hard, my knuckles went white. Every step closer to the hiding spot felt like a punch to the chest. He went to the bathroom first. He tugged the door locked. A low rumble echoed through the speakers like he didn't like being denied. Then he moved to the bedroom. Same thing, locked. I smirked for a second like, yeah, take that. Bad idea. Because the smirk vanished the second I remembered what was next on his list. The kitchen. Junior was only a few steps away. The man's shadow stretched across the walls as he dragged himself forward. The game went quiet. Too quiet. That kind of silence that forces you to lean in, like you're waiting for a bomb to go off. And then he stopped. Right outside the hiding spot, I could feel my heart pounding in my throat. My chat was going insane. Half of them were screaming "It's over." The other half were typing "Don't breathe." I wasn't even breathing myself at this point. I was frozen, whispering under my breath, "Please, please keep moving." But he didn't move. For a full 3 seconds, he just stood there. The shadow on the wall stretched and twitched, like he was listening, like he could hear my heartbeat through the screen. And then, click, the sound of the doorknob turning. I jumped. I actually jumped in my chair, nearly yanking my headset off. He was opening it. He was opening the door. The closet creaked, inch by inch, and I felt that surge of adrenaline slam through me. I couldn't take it anymore. I yelled, "Run, run, run," like the game was going to give me the option to sprint away. Spoiler, it didn't. The door flung open and black. Again, we lost. And at that point, I wasn't just scared. I was mad. Because if we were following the book, if we did everything right, then why did it still feel impossible? That's when I realized this game isn't about winning. It's about breaking you down until you start second, guessing every choice you make. And the worst part, we weren't done yet, because what came next made every loss look tame. When the screen went black, I just sat there, staring, breathing heavy like I'd actually been running from him myself. My headset felt hot. My palms were sweaty, and I realized this game had just wrecked me. Not because of jump scares, not because of gore, but because it felt like the man from the window had been standing right behind me the whole time. And here's the thing: I've played a lot of horror games, monsters that chase you, ghosts that scream, creepy dolls, you name it. But nothing hits quite like this, because it doesn't give you the satisfaction of fighting back. You can't punch the man. You can't run him out of the house with a shotgun. You don't even get to yell at him. All you can do is hide and hope doesn't last long in this game. After losing again, I slumped back in my chair, groaning. My chat was laughing at me, throwing clown emojis left and right, like I was the problem. But listen, if you've played this game, you know. The logic makes sense, but it also doesn't. It messes with your brain. You start thinking, okay, maybe if I put Junior here, or if I stall for 1 more minute, or if I lock this door but not that one, and then boom, the man still finds him. It's a special kind of frustration, the kind where you keep telling yourself 1 more try, just 1 more. And before you know it, it's 3 a.m., your lights are off, and suddenly you're wondering if maybe you should check your own windows. And that's when I realized this game doesn't end when you lose. It stays with you. Every creak in your house, every knock you hear, you start thinking, what if? What if there really is someone out there, watching, waiting? But okay, let's be real. Would I recommend this game? Absolutely, 1,000 times yes. Because even though it terrified me, even though I screamed loud enough to wake up my neighbors, I can't lie, I loved it. Horror games aren't supposed to just scare you. They're supposed to play with you, and this one does it perfectly. Still, let me leave you with some advice. Do not, I repeat, do not play this game late at night. Don't play it alone. Don't play it in the dark. And if you hear knocking at your window while you're playing, maybe don't open it. Because safe to say, playing the man from the window at night, huge mistake. But hey, if you enjoyed watching me suffer through it, then make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment about where you would have hidden Junior, and subscribe for more horror nightmares. Because this was just one ending, and trust me, the worst is yet to come.